My Lords, throughout the passage of this bill, both here and in the other place, many people have raised serious concerns about this bill and the impact it will have on victims of modern slavery. For fear of sounding like a broken record, I said at second reading and committee stage that this bill should exclude those who are subject to abuse through the heinous crime of modern slavery. And I echo the words of the former Prime Minister Theresa May, who said, when discussing the bill in the other place, that it has always been important to separate modern slavery from immigration status. My position remains unchanged. My Lords, I would prefer modern slavery was out of this bill entirely. For that reason, I shall support the amendments in the name of the noble Lord Hunt. These amendments get right to the very heart of the matter, as they seek to amend the bill to ensure that potential and recognised victims of human trafficking will not be detained or removed before they can apply to the NRM and have their application considered. In the spirit of those amendments, I have tabled Amendments 102A and 105A to remove clauses 23 and 24 respectively. The Minister at committee tried to reassure us that the agreement with Rwanda covers ensuring, and I quote, any special needs that may arise as a result of a relocated person being a victim of modern slavery are recommended. The impact assessment published Monday was more tentative, saying that there could be, and I quote, a perceived welfare loss for the individuals relocated to a third country who would otherwise be granted support in the UK, although this may be mitigated to the extent that the support provided in a third country is comparable. My Lords, this is a classic British understatement. We all know there will be loss of level of support. The Salvation Army have described the bill as potentially devastating. The 2023 US State Department Trafficking in Persons report, published since committee, lists Rwanda as a Tier 2 country, whereas the UK is a Tier 1 country, and said that Rwanda did not refer any victims to services. So I am far from reassured. The impact assessment says one of the strategic objectives of the bill is to protect the vulnerable. But this bill is proposing mass detention of modern slavery victims under Clause 10 and removing their rights under the European Convention on Human Rights or the European Convention against Human Trafficking to a recovery period and support. I find myself in agreement once more with the former Prime Minister Theresa May when she described the bill as a slap in the face to those who actually care about the victims of modern slavery. The Government is arguing that this is a bill of short-term pain for long-term gain. For victims, it will be short-term and long-term pain. The JCHR Joint Select Committee's legislative scrutiny of the illegal migration bill concluded that, as well as the bill breaching international obligations, it may also result in the increase in trafficking and slavery. Particularly with this in mind, I must say that I find myself extremely disappointed indeed that analysis of the potential number of victims affected by this bill was not covered in the impact assessment, particularly at such a late stage in the passage of such a significant flagship piece of legislation. It is troubling that we do not have the most basic information to hand in order to make reasonable determinations based on the evidence about the efficacy of the Government's proposal. I, for one, who introduced a bill in the Northern Ireland Assembly to reduce trafficking and slavery, cannot support the inclusion of modern slavery victims in this bill. So I shall be supporting the noble Lord Hunt's amendment. And I said that at the last debate in the House here. However, your Lordships are wise enough to take a belt and braces approach to this bill. So I am also supporting the amendments in the name of the Lord Randall. These amendments would mitigate some of the concerns about the lack of support by ensuring that the victims of modern slavery exploited in the UK will still be able to access the support that they need to recover. Why is simply that it is the right thing to do.
My Lords, I rise to support not only the amendment that is standing